Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well folks, I think a message is being sent quite clearly here, and that message is that this administration is done with the Democrats' BS. The gaslighting, the obstruction, the non-stop performative outrage, and now of course this performative vigilantism, it all frickin' ends here. Game over. Finished. I think the view from the Trump administration is that America cannot survive with one of its major political parties actively working against law enforcement, sabotaging federal operations, and defending criminals over citizens. And when you say it out loud like that, it certainly seems to make sense, no? Folks, the Democrat Party has completely lost the frickin' plot. We're not dealing with a normal political opposition anymore. We are dealing with a radicalized anti-law, anti-American cult that can no longer be enabled. This culture of #resist has officially reached a boiling point, and when Democrat politicians and left-leaning judges start interfering with ICE operations, well, it's simply a step too far and now something has to be done. This behavior can simply no longer be tolerated, and well, it's clear this administration has lost all tolerance. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on as another Democrat politician finds himself in federal custody after attempting to interfere with an ICE operation. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so here's the clip that's now going viral all over social media. We've got Brad Lander, a Democrat running for New York City mayor, who was just arrested by ICE for obstructing their operation. Take a look.
Where is it?
Sir, I have the warrant. I have it in my hand here.
I would like to see the warrant. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let go. I would like to see the warrant, and then I will let it go. Take him in. 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 Let's go. You don't have the You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have the, I'm not obstructing, I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. By asking for a judicial warrant? You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant.
Yeah, this is a man who wants to run one of the largest cities in the world, and his idea of leadership is physically interfering with a federal law enforcement agency trying to do their job. And again, like I always say, it would be one thing if his behavior was justified, but it's another when all of this is in defense of illegal aliens, many of whom who have committed violent crimes. It does not get any more idiotic than what we are seeing. It's totally misplaced righteousness. And actually, speaking of that exact concept, again, we hear the same thing, right? Ooh, I want to see a warrant. I want to see a warrant. We got this guy demanding that he sees the warrant. Well, here's the question I have. Who the hell do you think you are, pal? You don't get to see a warrant. You are a mayoral candidate. You're not frickin' Batman. And like I keep telling these lunatic actors on the street, you are not entitled to challenge a federal arrest. If you have an issue, you can file a complaint. Start a legal challenge. This vigilante nonsense is just so freaking brain dead. Not to mention, in these cases, as I've stated so many freaking times, it's not a judicial warrant, it's an administrative warrant, and there's actually no physical piece of paper. ICE agents do not need to present a warrant when doing an on-the-ground arrest. We've gone over this a million times, but Democrats can't seem to wrap their heads around it, and honestly, I don't even think they freaking care, to be honest. I think it's just about going out there and doing the Alex Padilla performance, then getting arrested and saying, "Woe is me," and obviously that's the freaking culture here. This is what Democrat voters mean when they say they want politicians and leaders who will do more and who will stand up to Trump. They don't want actual leadership and good policy. No, they just want you to raise your fist in the air, to be all dramatic as if you're challenging power, and then of course the most important thing, get arrested, acting like a complete fool, and that right there is called getting your stripes as a Democrat. Absolute freaking clown show behavior, but obviously this is part of the culture here, and it's a serious problem, and it's now spreading and causing all kinds of chaos on the street. Here's the perfect example of this culture completely run amok. In Los Angeles, we've got residents in South Central who are literally just filmed on camera swarming and harassing sheriff's deputies who are trying to serve a warrant in connection with a murder investigation. So you've got Los Angeles police attempting to arrest a murder suspect, and a crowd of nutcase left-wing wannabe vigilantes thought it was ICE. I guess because they don't have the ability to look at the damn badge or maybe even ask a couple questions. No, of course, it's mob mentality, again in action, and the whole mob just swarms thinking they're stopping an ICE operation. It's just absolutely insane.
Tense moments earlier today in South Central LA.
Don't touch him! Don't touch him!
Cell phone video capturing the confrontation between a group of neighbors and law enforcement officers in LA County Sheriff's Department uniforms outside a home near 49th and McKinley.
Someone told us that the ICE was outside. So when we came to see him, about the time we got outside, we saw these are quiet people that live over here. They don't bother nobody, you know, and they were there and they were just all over the place. They claimed they weren't ICE, but yes, they were.
But law enforcement says that is not the case. The Sheriff's Department telling KTLA the activity was part of an ongoing investigation and not connected to ICE. But the people we spoke with are convinced that's not true.
They were laughing in people's faces. They were saying, you guys are so ignorant. We're not even like ICE, but the reality is that even if they weren't, which I think they were because they were ripping people apart.
What we're seeing right now in South Central is resistance. The people came out on 49th and McKinley and they were denouncing the sheriffs for taking away a 3-year-old little girl. And people right now in this neighborhood are driving around. The youngsters are on their scooters, on their bikes. They're patrolling the neighborhood looking for ICE because they know that our community right now is under severe attack. They're kidnapping people.
And now, of course, the question is, why is this happening? Well, it's because of this brain rot that's been drilled into people's minds by the Democrat establishment, the media, and the Reddit activist base. All this extreme, divisive rhetoric, all this talk of Nazism, fascism, and authoritarianism. I mean, this is what happens when you've got lunatics like Tim Walz telling the Democrat base that ICE simply enforcing the law is actually Donald Trump's Gestapo running wild across the country violating people's rights.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. No chance to mount a defense, just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared. There's no way for us to know whether they were actually criminals or not, because they refused to give them a trial. We're supposed to just take their word for it.
And of course, when you deal in rhetoric like that, you enable the crazies. And really, to put that into perspective, here's the crowd that jumped in trying to stop the arrest of a murder suspect, thinking it was ICE. This was the scene, the event before it happened.
I'm not an anarchist, but I bet you one thing is I can fight right next to an anarchist against the pigs. Some of us here may be Catholic, some of us may be atheists, some of us may be black, some of us may be Filipino, some of us may be women, some of us may be men, some of us may be trans. But what we all have in common right now is we have a common enemy, and that's the pig. That's why we conquer organization. If you are not organized, then you are not part of the solution. If you're a comrade from an organization that's serious about struggle, then you know you have to go because your comrades will hold you accountable. That's the type of organization that we need to liberate our people, to liberate these lands, the indigenous people's lands, and to liberate all of us from this capitalist system that keeps all of us in the place that we're at. We have to believe that we can't out-organize them, we can't defeat them, we can't defend ourselves, because there's millions and millions of us and like 20,000 of them. We can kick their asses out of every single ghetto, every single barrio, every single reservation, anywhere where our people are. We have every single obligation, moral, historical. We have every reason to defend our people, to defend our community, to defend our families by whatever means necessary.
Listen to that rhetoric, quote, by any means necessary. Not to mention he says, oh, I'm not an anarchist, but I would fight along the anarchists against the pigs. It's borderline domestic terrorism. It's absolutely domestic extremism. It's time to stop playing these games. These people need to be stopped. They need to be arrested. If you get in the way of ICE or federal law enforcement in the middle of an arrest or operation, you will be arrested. That is not tyranny. That's a functioning country. That's how it's supposed to work. This has nothing to do with Trump or fascism. It's about basic law and order and living in a civilized society. If you have a problem, if there's an issue, you take it to the courts. You win in the political arena on the issues. But that's the problem with Democrats. They're losing on the issues. The people do not support their actions. The people are soundly behind the president, but they don't freaking care. They're going to do it anyways. In other words, they're the real fascists. They're the ones, I guess, who don't really believe in democracy. Anyways, just another look into the culture of left-wing lunacy. Been doing that a lot lately. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.